In this classroom tour video, we'll be talking all about my blending board and how I use it each and every day. So this is just something that I got on Amazon. It just uses Velcro and trifold so that you have a place to put your letters. I've also, before I had this, used my chalk tray. You could use another pocket chart. It doesn't really matter as long as you have a place where you can make words. I've also seen people use a binder that can stand up again, kind of in that trifold place. And then on each of the 3 rings of the binder, you have a set of words or a set of letter cards. Whatever works for you, but this is what I've been using this year. And so each day I start our routine with just saying the sounds on these flashcards, and they'll be specific. I'll show you kind of how I organize that in just a second, but they'll be specific to each and every group. So my vowel teams group may not have a lot of this. They may have more vowel teams. I have all just short vowels in here at the moment, but they'll have a little binder clip with the things they're working on. My beginning blends, my ending blends. It's all specific to whatever their decoding goals are at that time. Anyway, we practice just saying those sounds. We have tr, sk, brr, and we review these every day. And it can be quick. We're trying to build that automaticity. And a lot of times I'm saying those sounds with them. Later in the year, maybe we can fade away from that, but it's a learning experience. These are all things that we are learning to practice. So I'm not putting kids on the spot. If you know it, great, say it. If you don't, I want you to hear it from both myself and the other people at the table. So it's more of like a seeing, hearing activity than we have to have them all mastered. So after we have all of our cards where we've reviewed, and you can choose how many is appropriate for that group. I have some where we only have a handful. One of my lowest groups that I'm working with this year, we a lot of times are just doing our L blends, sometimes just doing our R blends, or I might pick a couple from each stack, but it's taken us all year to really kind of get to that point where we know them or know a good percentage of them. So you choose what's appropriate for your kids. Then I put those cards in the appropriate pocket. If it was my ending blends group, I'd be putting them here. But my beginning blends group goes in that first position. So then we just go through and we decode those words. And we talk about sometimes that we're going to have a combination that is not a real word. So if we hear a real word, we give it a thumbs up. If we don't hear a real word, we give it a thumbs down. And again, this can kind of be built into whatever amount of time you have. If you don't have a lot of time, or maybe you got stopped in the hallway, maybe you had a behavior to deal with, maybe you were giving a spelling test and that took a long time, that's okay. Use whatever amount of time you have and adjust. Maybe you do this for 1 minute, maybe you do it for 30 seconds, maybe you do it for 2 minutes. What do you have? So for me, I just move my hand through here. We say the sounds, tr, trim. And I'm trying to tune into what each student at my table happens to be doing. That way I can see, okay, he's relying on what his neighbor says. Oh, he's not saying all those sounds. He's just waiting for what we said as a group and then realizing, oh, that's the word trim. Maybe it's the opposite. They're saying all the sounds, but not saying the word trim. So you can kind of look for some of those problems that you're seeing in your students. So then I'm going to pull this card out. I'm going to say, what do I get next? Now, C and I really aren't going to go together in this format. So I'm just going to skip that one. And I'm going to say, brim. This time I want to move a vowel. Brom. Oh, that doesn't sound like a real word. And my kids like looking for that. I also love it, not to interrupt the flow of what I'm saying here, but I also love it because some of my kids are progress monitored on real words. Other kids are progress monitored on nonsense words. So by doing this, they're naturally realizing that sometimes some letters are going to combine and they're not going to make a real word. That's okay. Then we could have Prob. I don't think that's a word. Crab. Not a word. We're getting a lot of nonsense words here. Crab. Again, not a word. Maybe we can get a crab in here. Then a lot of times I'll stop on this word or a word that I know might be in our spelling list. And then we'll get the letters out of our spelling bag and we'll say, spell the word crab, and they can copy off the board with their letter tiles. And then I might say, okay, I want you to change one letter and spell something else using the letters that they have and kind of work towards our spelling words. Now, one thing that I feel has been helpful. Early on when I first started doing this, I printed one big mama set of letters, and it had vowels, it had blends, it had, beginning blends, ending blends, it had digraphs, it had all the things. And I was constantly dealing with these stupid cards, and I had them all either in here or a Ziploc baggie or whatever. And I was constantly juggling them. I don't want to do that. So I finally got a little smarter, and I printed each group that I have their own set of cards, and I just keep those in my folders. That way, if it's my beginning blends group, I know that that's what they have here. If it's a group working on CVC words, I know that's what they have here, and it's just ready to go. If it's my Val Teams group, I know they have everything that they need in their little binder clip of cards. So you could do whatever you want. You could certainly use whatever you want, but I have found that to be very, very helpful for me. That way I'm not wasting my precious group time trying to find all the right cards for all the words that I want to decode. And instead, I just pull this baby out and we go through and we say all of our sounds, we put it in, we stretch our words, I put them up. The next group, do the same thing. We're going to go through, say all of our sounds, put it in the board, blend our words, put it up. So I hope that makes blending words a little bit easier for you.